You know that little red notification? The one telling you a new version of iOS is ready? Yeah, we've all been there. It's a ritual.
Every year, millions of us tap that little button, Update Now. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what are you really downloading?
But have you ever stopped to think, what are you really installing when you tap that button?
It's not just new emojis or wallpapers. You're installing an entire ecosystem built on 4 massive pillars: experience, security, accessibility, and intelligence.
You're downloading a whole complex ecosystem built on 4 huge pillars: experience, security, accessibility, and a whole new layer of intelligence. This isn't just software, it's your digital life evolving, becoming smarter, safer, and more personal than ever before.
Hey everyone, you know that little red notification? The one telling you a new version of iOS is ready? Yeah, we've all been there. It's pretty much a ritual at this point for millions of us.
But have you ever stopped to think about what you're really installing when you tap that button? I mean, it's way more than just some new emojis. You're actually downloading this whole complex ecosystem, and it's built on 4 huge pillars: the user experience, some serious security, accessibility for everyone, and now a whole new layer of intelligence. So, yeah, let's get into it. All right, before we jump into all the cool new features, we got to talk about the update process itself. Because let's be real, is there anything more frustrating than hitting that update button, waiting forever, and then it just fails? So, first things first, let's talk prep.
You know, what's kind of funny is that most of the time when an update fails, the fix is surprisingly simple. Number 1, space. You gotta free up space. The fastest way to do that? Go into your Photos app and just nuke those huge videos you've got saved. They are almost always the problem. And number 2, ditch any old profiles. If you've ever played around with a beta version of iOS or used a specific VPN, those profiles can actually block the real update from coming through. So just a quick peek in your settings can save you a world of pain. Trust me.
Okay, so once you've done your homework and the update is ready to go, we get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about Pillar 1, the user experience. This is all the stuff you actually see and interact with. And based on what we're hearing, the next version of iOS is getting a major facelift.
So, the rumor is that the new design language is called Liquid Glass. Pretty cool name, right? So instead of the flat icons we're used to, picture these multi-layered, kind of glassy icons that have a real sense of depth. And the toolbars and menus, they're getting more rounded and can even sort of morph to give you different options when you need them. The whole idea is to make getting around your phone feel way more fluid and natural.
Even the good old phone app is getting a serious intelligence boost. Yep, there's a new layout that tidies things up, but the real game changers are the features that tackle all those daily annoyances. Check this out. Call screening can actually intercept unknown calls for you, asking who it is and why they're calling before your phone even rings. And Hold Assist? Get this, it will literally wait on hold for you and ping you when a human finally picks up. I mean, how amazing is that?
Messages is getting a similar smart makeover. For starters, it's going to start screening text from people you don't know, which should help clean up your inbox. But inside the chats themselves, oh man, we are finally getting features we've been begging for. I'm talking typing indicators in group chats so you can see who's actually typing. And you'll be able to set custom backgrounds for different conversations to give them their own vibe.
But here's the crucial part, right? All of those awesome, super convenient features, they're only possible if they're built on an absolutely rock-solid foundation of security. And that brings us perfectly to pillar number 2, the digital fortress that's constantly protecting your data, even when you have no idea it's even working.
And right at the very heart of that fortress is something called the Secure Enclave. The easiest way to think about it is like a separate, super high security computer that lives inside your phone. It's totally walled off from the main system, from everything else, and its one and only job is guard your most sensitive stuff. We're talking your passcode, your Face ID data, your fingerprints. And this security kicks in the absolute second you turn your phone on. It runs something called a secure boot, which basically builds what's called a chain of trust. So each piece of the system checks the signature of the next piece in line before it passes the baton. It goes all the way from the bare metal silicon up to the software you're tapping on. It's a process designed to make sure nothing malicious has messed with the system.
That security even applies to the updates we've been talking about. So why can't a hacker just trick your phone into installing an older, buggier version of iOS? That's called a downgrade attack. Well, it's because Apple personalizes every single update.
When you go to update, your device sends its own unique ID to Apple, and Apple's servers then create a special version of the update signed just for your specific phone. It literally can't be installed on any other device. And then there's something called data protection, which is all about encrypting your files. But what's really clever is that not all data is locked down in the same way. It's sorted into different classes. So complete protection means that stuff is totally locked down when your phone is locked, period. Other data might become available after you unlock your phone just one time. This layered system is exactly why you can still get a phone call when your device is locked, but nobody can read your text messages until you unlock it.
Okay, let's move on to pillar number 3, because this is where it all starts to connect in a really beautiful way. All of that security, that secure hardware, it enables something truly profound, creating technology that is genuinely designed for everyone, no matter their physical ability.
And this quote from Jordan Zimmerman just perfectly captures the whole point. It's not about just tacking on features. It's about building tools that give people dignity and autonomy.
I mean, just look at 2 unbelievable examples of this: personal voice and eye tracking. With personal voice, someone who is at risk of losing their ability to speak can create a synthetic voice that sounds exactly like them from just 15 minutes of audio. And then there's eye tracking, which lets someone with limited mobility control their entire iPhone or iPad using only their eyes. It's just incredible.
And this is where it all comes full circle. How can Apple do something so personal, so sensitive, and keep it safe? Well, it's by using on-device machine learning. All that voice data, all that eye tracking data, it's processed right there on your device. It never, ever gets sent to the cloud. And just like that, you see accessibility tied directly back to that core principle of privacy and security.
Which brings us to the 4th and final pillar, the intelligent future. We're seeing AI being woven into the very fabric of the operating system now. But, and this is the key part, it's being done in a way that's built on top of those same foundations we've just been talking about.
Apple's term for it is Apple Intelligence. And the big idea here is that it's personal AI. This isn't just some generic chatbot sitting in the cloud somewhere. The goal is for it to be deeply aware of your personal context. You know, your messages, your calendar events, your photos, so it can actually be helpful to you.
So, the million-dollar question is, how do you make an AI personal without just throwing all your privacy out the window? Well, Apple's tackling this with a 2-part strategy. The foundation, the default, is on-device processing. Most of the work happens right on your iPhone. But for the really heavy lifting, it can tap into something called private cloud compute. And the crucial detail here is that it only sends the absolute necessary data to secure Apple servers, and that data is never stored and Apple can't even see it.
So what can you actually do with this? Well, it basically powers a new layer of smarts across the whole system. Imagine your phone being able to understand what's on your screen and help you look something up, or your Reminders app being smart enough to automatically pull a to-do list out of an email you just got. It even works in the background with things like an adaptive power mode that actually learns your habits to squeeze every last drop of juice out of your battery.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, you realize an iOS update isn't just one thing. It's really this combination of all 4 pillars. You've got the experience, the security, the accessibility, and the intelligence all working together, with each one making the others possible.
And all of this leaves us with a final, really big question. Tapping Update Now is the easy part. The real challenge, the thing that's going to define the next decade of our lives with technology, is this. As our devices get smarter and smarter, how do we make sure they're actually making us better, more connected, more empowered humans? That's the real work that goes into every single update.
So the real question isn't just about new features. It's about what they enable. As our devices get smarter, how do we make sure they're actually making us better, more connected, more empowered humans?